Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream. Hopefully, guys are all doing well. Do me a favor, chat, smash the likes up on the way in. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. But let's get these likes up really quick, man. We've got over 200 people locked in already. Let's get these likes to 100 likes really quickly, man. Shout out to Nobbins, Braves, do some stretches. Bro. How you doing?
You good, I'm doing fine. Yeah, I'm doing good. Just been to the gym. Doing good. Good vibes, good energy. Well, not in the football world.
Haaland.
Pardon?
I said, did you move more than Haaland?
I put in as much effort as Spurs did in that second half. Absolutely. Yeah. I put a shift in.
Yeah. Cool. Let's have a look who's in the chat, man. Shout out to Rehan. Shout out to John Cena. Sheaves in the building. Amar, big up to you, bro. Big up to you, Javier. Tyrone, Herbal, Sai. Who else we got in here? Big up Spirin, Sean, Fidit. Brendan's in the building. Big up to Haneen, Aaron. Who else we got in here, man? Smash these likes up on the way in as well, boys. Triad, Skelly, Kyle, Ahmad, Tyrone, Brennan, Abhishek, Link, Gaming for Life, Purple Ray. Good to see you guys, man. Smash these likes up on the way in. Nobbins, man, what the hell is going on, mate? 1 win in 6 Premier League games, soon to be 1 win in 7. This is mad. Like, last year, when we was doing these shows last year, I feel like we was both kind of on the same page in that when we was going through the bad run, we both kind of felt that the team just didn't have the solutions. And we said that from early on. We've kind of agreed on that. And that we sort of like anticipated that the run would get worse as it went. And it did. This team and this squad, I don't feel has the same issues as last year in that Pep doesn't have the solutions. I think that the squad, he has got the players available to him, and he's you look at the starting 11 yesterday. That starting 11's not a bad starting 11. They're not bad players. You look at the bench. You got Tijani Reinders. Yeah, you got Phil Foden. You got Nico Gonzalez. The players are there, in my opinion. So why are we struggling really, really bad to get results against average and bad teams? We're not playing Arsenal's. We're not playing Liverpool's. We're playing Chelsea with no manager, no first team goalkeeper, no right back, no Caicedo. We're playing fucking Brighton at home. We're playing Man United with a brand new manager. Yeah, we're playing Spurs who are 14th, 15th in the league. What's going on, mate?
There's a lot of questions there. I don't have to make it clear, I don't have the answers in the first instance. So, bye everyone. No, I can. From my perspective, the problems haven't changed since the second game of the season, I'm going to say. And I think that when you and I first discussed it, I can remember anyway, about, what's going on with City in second halves. The first time I can remember discussing it on this channel was the Brentford game. I don't remember when that was. But that was a long time ago. That was a minute ago. So that's how long these issues have been going on. City struggling in second halves of football games, generally speaking. Before I go into that, I think it's fair to say that it shouldn't really matter what structural issues may exist. As you rightly say, the quality of the individual players was more than good enough on their own, regardless of structure or whatever, to get the win yesterday against the Spurs side, where in the first half, I thought that was the worst first half of a City opponent that we've had all season, probably, given the context of the level, not including Exeter in there. But that was worse than Wolves at the Etihad, for example, I would say, from Spurs in that first half. They were properly garbage. So how worrying is it that they were able to relatively easily shift from being, in my opinion, the worst half of football we've played against all season to they should have won the game probably in that second half, really, but for some Donnarumma saves, they score a third, maybe a fourth goal. So Spurs could have scored more than 2 in that second half, and they probably should have done. The worrying thing is that it's even bad teams that are able to do that to us. And for me, nothing has really changed since a few months ago. City are worse in the second half of football matches because all that has to happen is an opponent needs to simply commit more bodies forward. They need to get a bit more physical in the midfield. They just play a bit more direct, and then we crumble. And it's happened again. We are no longer the City of old, where we are able to score a goal or two, and then from there the opponent comes on to us, but it is irrelevant because we then suffocate them via sustained possession and we just kill them and then we inevitably score another goal and we end up killing the game. We are no longer that team anymore. This goes beyond one individual player. So people trying to blame one individual player are wrong for that. We've hopefully seen now, it doesn't matter who the scapegoat is, whether it's Savio, whether it's Foden, whether it's Lewis, whoever it is, the collection of players doesn't really change the frailties that this City squad faces in the second half of football matches. And it's something that I've been saying for months and months and months, and I got derided for it. Hopefully everyone can now see the reality of the situation. Apologies for playing the I told you so card, but I told you so to those people. And I can't see it getting any better this season, to be honest with you. I think this is a problem that's going to persist until the summer, and we're able to bring in someone like Elliot Anderson, and we're able to bring in a recognised out-and-out actual right-back as well. Maybe some other players, depending on outgoings. And it's worrying that it's not getting better. Realistically, it's not getting better. And again, it goes beyond one player, it goes beyond two individuals, etc., etc. Pep needs to have questions asked of him as well, because you can't just capitulate that 2-goal lead against Spurs. I don't care. It's bad. It's bad. It's very odd.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, right? But am I supposed to believe that Elliot Anderson coming into this Manchester City team solves most of the problems?
No, not most, but a lot. Yes, I would say.
Oh, man.
If I were trying to play, yes, not all of them though. And I need to repeat that I'm not trying to say that this squad can't do better, because it can. Obviously, it's not good enough. It's not acceptable. I do think that does help though, but that may also not be enough, given how we are trying to play. Anyway, I've said many a time that I think the squad building is confused. I think that we are trying to, because this I'm trying to rationalize it. We know that the Premier League and football generally is becoming more and more physical, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Teams. We literally saw it against Spurs. They brought on Sarr. They have an actual functioning midfield. Our midfield gets overrun, even if we have Rodri in it and Nico in it and Bernardo in it. It still happens. The problem that I can see really is that City's squad isn't physical enough to compete physically with teams that do that. On the other hand, it's the technical flaw of these players is also not high enough to counter it. So we're neither here nor there, and we're trying to be something in between.
Yeah, no, I agree. So basically, yeah, what you're saying is right. If what I hear is right, if you're not gonna fight power with power, yeah, i.e. strength with strength, you need to be able to out-tech their players. Yeah,
essentially,
PSG last year, for example, you look at PSG last year, right? They had Vitinha, João Neves, and Fabian Ruiz. That is not a physical midfield. They won the treble. Why? Because those players technically are incredible, world class, undoubtedly, all three of them, right? But when you look at City, yeah, we don't have the power, i.e. the strength in the midfield, but I also don't see a high level of technical ability in that midfield. The current, I know they've got it in the locker. Because I've seen them do it for five years. Some of them longer than that. Bernardo Silva longer than that. But when I'm watching this City midfield, I'm not seeing that unbelievable technical ability in the midfield. And when we're coming up against these physical sides, you either need to fight power with power, yeah, heavyweight, yeah, which we don't have. We can't do that. We don't have the players, yeah. Or you got to out-tech them, and we're not out-teching them. Our midfield looks like a standard midfield, like an average midfield. It's a good midfield, but when we're coming up against these players, I agree. When I saw Papa Sarr coming on yesterday, I was a little bit worried. I was thinking to myself, "Oh fucking hell, here we go. Look at this guy." Whenever I see a sub coming off the bench for the opposition, they're over 6 foot. I'm thinking, "Oh fucking hell." Do you know what I mean? But I still think that, like, whilst Elliot Anderson or Bruno Guimaraes or whatever the type of player that we bring in, yeah, this physical presence, whilst I do believe that'll help, these performances are not just because of that midfield. Like, him coming in will solve a few issues.
Oh, have I frozen or is LB? That's a good face.
Have I lagged out?
Oh, there you're back. Yes, you're back.
I actually think it's the forward line that's causing us the problems, not the midfield. So, yeah, to be honest with you, yeah, I'm just a little bit like frustrated, and I'm more annoyed than last year because last year, yeah, I didn't think we had the players. Yeah, from early on, yeah, as soon as that Rodri injury happened and we drew a couple games, lost a few guys, like, yeah, we're fucked. We don't have the players. We do have the players. Do we have a perfect squad? No, we don't. We need another midfielder, 100%. Yeah, but this is not good enough, man. I don't see the fight. How can you win one game in 6 when you've played Sunderland, Chelsea, Brighton, Man United, fucking Wolves and Spurs?
Yeah, and I do think that if and this isn't an excuse because this actually supports my point. I think that if City had everyone fully fit, then I do think there is a title-winning squad in there. But the point is that a couple of injuries and we aren't that. And that is bad because it means that you probably don't actually really have a title-winning squad if you're relying on everyone being fully fit. It would be better if we had Gvardiol in the side, for example. He's a massive factor of that. I think it will get better with Aït-Nouri being properly integrated into the side. I think it can get better by bringing in an actual right back and bringing in another midfielder. But I don't really know what I'm trying to say there. It can get better. I just don't think it will this season. I don't think there's really a short-term. I don't think there's a short-term solution, in all honesty. And this is why I'm able to be quite calm and reasoned about it, because in my head, I've sort of accepted that there's nothing we can really do this season. I don't think we will do anything this season.
Is that good enough, though, mate?
No, it's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. But it's where I am.
How much? Yeah, no, I hear where you are. That's a fair position to be if that's what you think. But you surely have to ask questions of the board, right?
Yes.
Or Viana and Tiki, because you can't go out and spend nigh on 200 million in January, another 200 million in the summer or whatever it was. And then another 80 million in January and go, we don't have the squad. Like, that is just fucking poor.
I agree. I don't think Viana's done a good job. I've said it many a time. I think he's been bad, quite frankly. I think the squad building's been confused. I've made that clear since the summer. I don't think it's been good squad building. And I think that we are now seeing the dividends of that. Because surely everyone can now agree that it goes beyond just one individual. It can't just be that. As for like the players, I'm not just saying it's all on Viana's shoulders, by the way, before anyone wants to call me a hypocrite. I'm not saying that either. It isn't good enough. I agree. And it's upsetting and depressing and disappointing that I'm in this position in February where I've basically canned in the title race. That's not good. I don't want, that's a loser mentality. But I'm happy to accept that I am a loser right now, and I've just come to terms with it, I suppose. Hopefully we can still win the League Cup. Hopefully we can do well in the FA Cup. Hopefully we can win the Champions League. But this team is not winning the Premier League this season. I'm very convinced of that. So happy to be proven wrong, of course. I just don't think it's been good enough. And I don't know how many times we can say that, it's just a one-off. I can accept a one-off if it is a one-off, like Sunderland was a one-off, but every game thereafter can't we? Chelsea game and the Brighton game. Okay, yeah, great. We won it. We won against Wolves and Galatasaray at home. That's lovely. But it's happened again. The issues have been here since August. That's not a one-off. That's a pattern of a repeated issue that has been transpiring since August.
Do me a favour, Nobbins, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Zohib. Zohib says he disagrees. The players we bought in are decent, good enough to play for us. Pep can't get us any better. Get him gone. So I'm going to let Nobbins speak, but I'm going to suggest that Nobbins doesn't think the players are bad. It's the profile of player. Is that correct?
Yes. That's basically what I'm saying. Yes. I think in a vacuum, on an individual level, I think all of the players that we have signed, like last summer and in Jan, the senior players anyway, are all fantastic players on an individual level. But that's not the point I'm making. I don't think that if you looked at what were the midfield issues for us last season, and then you look at the midfielder that City signed in the summer, in Shirky and Reinders, those are not the players that solve that problem as a starting point. That's what I mean. It's certainly, if we're going to play like this now, I don't think there is a cohesion between a lot of these signings. There is some, absolutely. There's a lot of cohesion between Donnarumma and Semenyo. There is a lot of cohesion between Ait Nouri and Cherki, but blah, 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 blah. But as a whole package, I don't accept that there is cohesion between all of the signings as a whole. And for me, that is bad squad building. That's why I'm not especially happy with the job that Viana has done. That's why I've been saying it for a long time now. This is a big fundamental problem with City. And this isn't about not putting any blame on Pep, because he has to do better. I'm not saying that it would have mattered that much, but could he have brought on Foden instead of Cherki a bit earlier, or rather, could he have brought on Foden instead of Reinders when Cherki had to go off? Because at that stage, what we needed was a bit more measure and control in the game, and Reinders isn't going to necessarily offer that. I know that Foden's not playing especially well right now. Could that have happened, for example? Reinders isn't going to necessarily solve it. So blame does have to go on his door as well. He's clearly trying different shapes and setups. The problem does keep persisting. But outside of that, I don't really know what options there could have been for him. I do think it's more of a squad building problem than managerial. That's not to absolve him of blame, obviously.
Yeah, because he's got to be doing better with the players. Yeah, he's got to be doing better with. You can say that the squad building's poor. Yeah, and I agree that not addressing that midfield problem is a major L. But at the same time, that Pep has to be doing better with these players, man. You can't be winning one game in 6 with these players. It's
unacceptable.
It's poor. You can't be collapsing. It's another game where we've collapsed in the second half. Have you seen the stat? We've not scored a single goal in 2026 in the Premier League second half.
Yeah, it's almost as if we lose control and sustained possession in the second halves of football. Therefore, we have less of the ball. Therefore, we have less dangerous possession. Therefore, we're less able to be competent in front of goal. It's weird, isn't it? It's almost as if these have been the problems we've been experiencing for months now. Bizarre. Who could have foreseen such a thing? Pretends to be shocked.
I go back to the summer where we could have got Bruno Guimaraes for 100 mil and City said, nah. That, for me, is one of the worst decisions this club's ever made. When you talk about the midfield, you talk about it there. I talk about it on stream. I'm sure you talk about it on stream. We talk it with the chat. The chat always going about the midfield being weak and shit. And Kevin De Bruyne spoke about our midfield last year being soft and weak. He solved so many of those issues, and we fucking said no. Absolutely insane. Let's have a look at some of these chats. Big up to YK, says Reinders, what does he do? Bro, I'm going to be real with you, yeah? I was excited when we signed Reinders. I watched him a lot last year at AC Milan, and I felt like this was a good signing. However, right now, he's one of the most uninspiring Manchester City players we've got in the squad, with respect. I hope he comes good. I think he's fundamentally is a good football player. So that's good, because hopefully he will settle down and he'll come good eventually, maybe next season, whatever, don't know. But he needs to hit the gym with Nobbins, yeah, and then he needs to start showing a bit more desire. I rate him. I think he'll come good eventually. But right now, he's got to be one of the most uninspiring players in this squad, unfortunately. And I was someone that really wanted him at City. Yeah, I watched him a lot last year. We did a lot of watch-alongs on the second channel, watching AC Milan, and I thought he was going to be mega. But yeah, I think he just drifts around the pitch, not doing a lot. You know what I mean? He had a good month in, what was it, December, where he got 4 goals, I think, in the month of December. Outside that, he's been poor. So, yeah, listen, I'm going to give him a bit more time, because fundamentally, I do think he's a good player, and I think he should hit the gym, yeah? And I think he needs to realise this is the fucking Premier League. You need to get stuck in. Because I'm telling you now, the way he's going to be a bench player. It's all right, people going, I see it all the time on Twitter, people go, oh, well, you know, you need to give him a year. You need to give him a year. All right, I'll give him a year. But if he carries on like way he's going, he'll be fucking bench next season, mate. So for his own fucking good, he needs to up his performance levels, mate, because these performance levels are nowhere near where but by the way, yeah, we all agree we're probably going to get Anderson in the summer. If Rodri doesn't leave, Tijani Reinders going to be a squad rotation player. Facts. He is. Because he ain't going to be playing ahead of Rodri. He's not going to be playing ahead of Elliot Anderson. And he won't be playing in a 10 because Foden or Cherki will be there. So fix up. It's all right, people going, oh, give him time, give him time. Yeah, we'll give him time. But you don't do him any favours, because you babying him all the time, say give him time. It's just going to mean he's going to be on the bench next season. So anyway, I rate the player. I think he will come good. But if he carries on the way he's going, which, he's not really improving, he's going to end up being a squad rotation player at this football club, which I honestly didn't think he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a key component of this Manchester City team.
Yes. Yeah, I got it wrong with Reinders. I thought we were going to play a certain way. In fairness, that hasn't happened. And he's not the midfielder that I thought he was going to be for us. He's not really been being used in the way that he was used at Milan. So in Milan, he was, and maybe that's just because he can't do it in a different league. I don't actually know what the answer is there. But if you watch him for Milan, he was often involved in the really deep phases of build-up, and he was very press resistant, and he was very good at that. Now, perhaps that's just because Serie A is a slower league and a less physical league. Therefore, he was able to play his game a bit more. Maybe, I don't know. And maybe that's why Pep's not been using him in deeper areas, because he doesn't trust him to do it. Because he can't do it in the Premier League compared to Serie A. I don't know if that's an oversimplification, but it would make sense, definitely. But yeah, what we need...
The thing for me, though, Nobbins, sorry, just to interrupt real quick on that point there, yeah, is, okay, right, maybe you can't get stuck in. Maybe that's not part of his game. Maybe he'll never do that. The guy needs to show for the ball more. The amount of times I've said this in games, I'm saying, like, okay, so basically what we're saying is Tijani Reinders isn't a player that's going to get stuck in midfield. We all agree with that. I don't think you'll find a single City fan around the world that says that's not the case. So we know that. So what is he then? We need to understand what he is. What he is a player that you need to get on the ball. Show for the fucking ball then. The amount of times he just walks around, not fucking go and get the ball. I remember David Silva used to go and get the ball. Kevin De Bruyne used to get the ball. Even Gundogan used to go and get the ball. He used to go to Rodri, right, you give me the fucking ball and I'm going to break the lines. I'm going to do a pass. I'm going to do some mad thing with the ball. I feel like he's just too passive. He's too passive.
Yeah, and I think that, that exactly right. And a lot of his best work has come more so from further up the pitch and making runs and finding the space and being impactful in the final third. And I know his finishing wasn't especially good yesterday, but he had 2 good chances to score. So that side of his game has been nice, and he has got a good number of goal contributions for us. And that's good, but that's only half of the battle. As you say, we do need him to be contributing a little bit more to the build-up effort and contributing out of possession a little bit more. And so far, he's not really been playing as this all-encompassing, all-round midfielder, which is something he even described himself as when he signed for us. He said, I describe myself as a box-to-box midfielder. I like to get involved in all the phases of play. And that's what he did at Milan, but it's not what we're seeing at City. He's only really getting involved more so in that final third. And I need him in phase 1. I need him more so in phase 2 as well. That's where we struggled. We don't really struggle in the final third when we're able to get there consistently. It's more so getting to that point. And so far, unfortunately, Reinders hasn't improved us in that sense. And that's so disappointing, because I'm willing to be patient. I'm not saying sack him off and that's insane. I'm not willing to say sack him off and sell him. He's a flop, whatever. I will be patient, but I cannot. It's okay to be patient and still accept that what we've seen so far hasn't been good enough, and it's not been what I've wanted from the signing either.
Yeah, like I said, I hope he comes good, and I think he will. But if he doesn't improve, he will find himself being a squad rotation player for Manchester City next season, because there's no way he's going to get in ahead of Anderson or Rodri. There's just no way. So, it's up to... And you know what? I don't know if he is. Maybe he is. Pep needs to be telling this to Reinders. Pep needs to be bringing Reinders in the office today and say, listen, mate, I know it's the first season, but the way you're playing is nowhere near the standards of this football club, mate. And if you don't improve, you're going to find yourself as a squad rotational player next year, and you're going to be knocking on my door moaning. So fix up. Yeah, get fucking stuck in. You just try and tackle a guy. Try and make a challenge. If you don't, you bounce off him, whatever, because you got no strength. Cool. But show the fans. I always say, one way of winning City fans over, yeah, whether you're at the stadium, whether you're watching at home, one way of winning City fans over, I'm telling you this for a fact, is to fucking get stuck in. Trust me. If you want to win the City fans over, even if you're going for a little, and Haaland could learn a thing or two about this, these last few games. If you want to win the City fans over, get stuck in. You can drop a stinker. If the City fans can see that you're running around 100 mile an hour, giving 100% for the badge, you're getting stuck in, I'm telling you, the City fans will give you a little bit of leeway. It's when you're not fucking getting stuck in. That's why Haaland's been getting pelters. We all know Haaland's not been getting a lot of chances in the last couple of weeks. We all watch the games. He's getting XG of like 0.2 every game. He's not getting the chances. Yeah. Why are City fans getting onto him? No City fans getting onto him because he's missing bare chances. I've not seen anyone say that because he's not. City fans are getting onto him because he's not fucking moving and he's not putting enough effort in. He's not making challenges. And the same goes for Reinders. So you want to win the City fans, or you want to get City fans off your case, start running around and put a fucking couple tackles in, man. Yeah.
I agree.
Big up to Amar says Pep is the problem. No one wants to talk about it. Bro, we talk about it all the time. But the thing is, Amar, you want us to say Pep out. And because we don't say Pep out, you don't like it. Pep has to be doing better. We've spoke about it on the stream already. We've said this is poor from Pep. He needs to get more from this team. Yeah, I said that yesterday. I'm saying it again now. But you want me to say Pep out because you're Pep out, yeah, but I'm not Pep out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But Pep needs to be doing more. This is poor from Pep Guardiola. I think he's doing poor. I think he had a bad season. I said last night on the panel show, he needs to stop fucking about with the team. 1 minute he's playing one system, next minute he's playing a different system. He keeps changing it around. And when your team's not playing particularly well, I think that's the worst thing you can do. I think the best thing Pep Guardiola could do now is get a system and just stick with it. Whether it's the first half system from yesterday, whether it's the first half system from the Galatasaray game, just find a system, stick with it, and run it game after game after game for 5, 6, 7 games and see what happens. So, yeah, I think he's doing poor this year. Unlike last year, when I thought the squad was so bad, yeah, that I didn't think he really had much to blame. This year, I do think he's got to hold a lot of the smoke because I think he's getting a lot wrong. But you just want me to say out of Pep out, man. I'm not going to say that, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will also say that throwback. I think that I was one of Pep's biggest critics in the 23-24 season. In fairness, I think that I was the one who was the biggest proponent of the. Realistically, in some games, it's Rodri and Foden's individual brilliance at saving Pep here quite a lot. I was pretty critical of Pep in that year. So when people suggest that you don't talk about it enough, I feel like I do talk about it a lot if I feel like it's valid and warranted to do so. And I have been critical of Pep this season. I didn't like the 3-1 shape. I didn't like how he dropped a player from our build-up. But I think there's something more fundamental at play. That's all. Okay.
Big up Ahmad says, what stopped Newcastle now? It's no, the game's not over. The game's not over. Hopefully Bruno Guimaraes won't be available, man, because he's a big miss. He's a big miss for Newcastle in that midfield. So I don't know if he's fit for the game on Wednesday. But yeah, man, like listen, 5 at the back, 3 midfielders. Yeah. Run McKady as a striker and just pull the ball and counter attack, bro. Real talk. Big up Ahmad, mate. Big up to Matko as well. Says, who would have instilled controlled aggression and fighting to the players? We don't have many warriors who stick up for their mates when fouls occur. Yeah, but again, bro, Matt Cole, yeah, this goes back to what Kevin De Bruyne said last year about the midfield being a soft midfield and a weak midfield. He said it. And the club did absolutely nothing to address that. Maybe they thought naively that Rodri would come back into the midfield and that would increase the sort of aggression and the power and the strength. And maybe they thought Pep might play him with Nico G. Maybe they thought that was going to be a solution, but it's not a solution. Yeah, it's maybe a potential temporary plaster on the wound, but I don't think it's a long-term solution. So, at the end of the day, yeah, we know the club know about it. We know the club know about it. How do we know this? Well, Kevin De Bruyne spoke about it last year, and I'm sorry, the club should be listening to Kevin De Bruyne in some degree and saying, well, if our best player, this is Kevin De Bruyne, and he's talking about the midfield being soft. So the club have been told by Kevin De Bruyne, he told them last year, and then Viana is said, yeah, we need to buy more stronger players. We need to buy more physical players. They bought Semenyo. Obviously part of that is for the goals, but I imagine part of the reason they bought him is because of the strength. But they've still not addressed this midfielder, yeah, which is a crucial point, yeah. And I agree with Nobbins. I think if he comes in, he'll solve a lot of problems. I don't think he solves all the problems, and Nobbins agreed with me on that one. He doesn't solve all the problems, but he solves a lot of the problems. Or someone like him. It don't have to be him. It can be someone in that mold. But fundamentally, we've not had a player in that midfield for 2 seasons now who can get stuck in. And people try and tell me Bernardo's that guy. Bernardo's not that guy. Bernardo's the guy who runs around with a lot of energy and kicks people and wins the ball back. But he's not that fucking aggressor who can win a big fucking 50-50 duel against Pape Sarr in midfield, is he? Yeah, he's just not that guy. He's a different type of player. So we need to get that in. And that's why I said in January, I would have thrown a little bid in for Anderson and see what happens, because it could be the difference. It could have been the difference between us winning the league and not winning the league, And I know it would have been difficult to get him out, but you never know if he had a release clause. Nobody knew about the Morgan Gibbs White release clause that existed in his contract. It's a secret release clause. Who knows? There could have been one for Anderson. There might have been one for Anderson. Nobody knows because the guy had a secret one, Morgan Gibbs-White. It might be a club thing. The club might have been like, we'll put one in. They might have done the same for Anderson. If you put 70 million, who knows? It might have triggered the clause and then we would have had Anderson. But I don't know. But yeah, it needs addressing in the summer. And we need a genuine top player, man. Now, is Anderson a good player? I like him. Is he a top player? Well, probably too early to say. You know what I mean? He's only been at Forest a year or so. He's played a few games for England where he's looked good. Is he going to be another player where we need to give him time? And then next year we get to fucking January, February, and we're like, oh yeah, it's another transition year. And then before you know it, you're 3 years without winning a trophy, and everyone's going, what the fuck's going on? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So this summer, yeah, it's got to be top ballers only. No more projects. # no to projects, man. But is Anderson a project?
No.
You think he's top class already?
Yeah, well, he's not like world class or whatever, but yeah, he's not like a project as a player who isn't ready to start right now. A project as a player who doesn't improve a starting 11 right now. Anderson improves our starting 11 right now. That's not a project, surely.
Yeah, no, I think he improves us. My question is he good enough to propel us up where we need to be? I guess probably, because at the end of the day, yeah, we're still only 6 points off Arsenal right now. If you bring him into this team, how many more points do we have this season with Anderson in the side? Imagine
it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. And we have to be fair as well. This does go beyond the midfield. It's also like losing Gvardiol is a massive issue for us as well. Nunes not being, I know he had like his worst game for City yesterday. I'm not trying to like properly go into him at all, but getting a right back who can, because we know that we're not as good building centrally, so sometimes we have to build out wide. I think Ait-Nouri coming into the team and being the recognised left back will probably help with that issue as well. I think that getting that, whoever that right back is, would also help as well. Gvardiol coming back would help as well. Kasanov maybe becoming more of a starter would probably help as well, because his ball playing's really underrated. So it's more than just the midfield, basically. It's more than just that. Yeah, sorry, I think I had a point there, but I forgot what it was. Sorry. My brain's not with it today. I forgot what my point was.
Let's see what you guys in the chat say. It is an interesting conversation here, because there's so many different like views about what's the problem. Some people are saying it's a board. Yeah, the signings are shit. Some people are saying Pep's fucking washed and the guy needs to go. He's finished. Some people are saying the players are dog shit. Some are saying it's a bit of everything.
I think I remembered what I wanted to say. Can I think I was going to say something like, what I would like to see next season is I would like to see a City side that basically knows how it wants to play football. That makes sense. I think right now we're stuck between a couple of ways of playing. Yeah, and it's what we touched on earlier. We're sometimes trying to, I mean, we are objectively, if you look at those, if you look at the data graphs from previous seasons, like the number of fast goals we've scored this season compared to past seasons is staggering. The difference this season, we are way more reliant on scoring fast goals and goals on the break compared to past seasons. If you look at, and people are going to have a go at me for using woke stats or whatever, but if you look at things like field tilt, which is basically how much of the possession you have in an opponent's final third. Sorry, but if you look at those things, that's way down this season as well. However, compared to the rest of the league, we are, if you look at those like X and Y graphs, we are still way top right whenever there's graphs which look at basically measures of control and possession and speed of play. We are still way slower than the rest of the league, and we are still way more measured than the rest of the league. But compared to past iterations of ourselves, we are not what we once were. So do you feel so wanky? Yeah, exactly. So do you see what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. But
yeah, but this is what I was saying before, bro. When I was saying Pep just needs to fucking pick a system and run with it. This constant changing tactics, changing formation is not helping anybody, especially. And people say, well, LB's always done that. We've just fucking signed 10 new players in the space of the last 12 months. So you've got all these new players that have come in that are trying to learn the Pep system, trying to learn the Premier League, trying to learn Champions League system, yeah? And then he's doing all these changes. When we had a bit more of a stable team 4 or 5 years ago, when most of the players have been there a while, Yeah, we had a few new players in there, but a lot of the players have been there a number of years. They all got it. Yeah, it's easier for Pep to tinker them because the players fundamentally kind of get what Pep's saying. Yeah, Cherky's just come into the league. He's just come in. You know what I mean? Donnarumma's just come in. Gay's just come in. And I don't think it helps Pep, 1 minute playing this formation, the next minute playing this formation. Yeah, like look at that performance against Galatasaray. The first half, that 4-2-2-2 system that he played, with the Marmoush and Haaland as a striker. I thought he played well against Galatasaray first half. Run it again. No, we change it again. First half against Spurs was good. I like the system, Next game, it'll probably be something completely different on Wednesday. Like, pick a fucking system, stick with it, and run with it for a number of games. Let the players get used to it. Look at Cherky after the Galatasaray game saying, all the players love to play this system. We won the game. We kept a clean sheet. We did really well in the first half. Second half was a bit weird, probably because it was more of a sort of, we don't really know what to do here, sort of situation. So I'll allow it a little bit. But fundamentally, overall, I thought it was a decent performance. The player comes out, one of your best players, Cherky, comes out after the game in the press and says, this system is the system that the players want to play. This is what we like playing. Next game, boom, change, we draw. Just fucking stick with it, man.
Yeah. Definitely. I need to make it clear that I'm not saying that I think that City should only play one formation and that should be it for 38 games in a Premier League season.
I agree.
Because we're not saying that. My point was more so about a mindset / a philosophy of how to play, because you can play a 2-3-5, you can play a 3-1-6, you can play a 4-2-2, and they can all have the same overarching philosophy. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about more so is the mindset of generally speaking, how are we going to score goals? And I get it that it's good to have options, and sometimes in a game you'll have to shift and that sort of thing, but I'm just not really getting. And it goes back to the squad building of the squad building seems confused and the style of play seems confused, because we are trying to be a bit more direct and a bit more transitional compared to past City sides, but we're arguably not being that enough if you want to go down that route. So even though I don't want us to go down that route, and I don't think that's the way that City should evolve, if you are going to commit, then I think you have to commit and you have to go one way or another, rather than trying to be a little bit of both but never really succeeding at either or. We're still trying to be City by trying to dominate games, but we're not able to do that. So we're trying to throw it in occasionally, but it's not really working. It just comes across as confused on the pitch. It comes across as confused off the pitch as well.
And just to reiterate, I'm not suggesting that we should just stick a formation and play that for the rest of the season.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, right now, we're about to go on a 1-7 Premier League record. Because we ain't beating the fucking Liverpool at Anfield. Anyone that supported this club for more than a couple of years will know that, So we're about to win 1 game in 7. That is shambolic, bro. That is fucking shit. So what I'm saying is, for the next month, just pick a system. Let's get some rhythm going. Let's pick the system that Ryan Cherky said the whole the players like playing, that we won the game and kept a clean sheet against the Galatasaray side. Let's run it for a month, And then when everything's a bit more stable, if Pep wants to tinker, then let him tinker. But what I'm saying is, when we're in this period of the season where we are struggling, we're struggling to kill off games, we're struggling to win games, as per our Premier League record. Let's just stick with something. Let's see how it goes and then start to solve it. But this constant fucking tinkering the system, every fucking first 10, 15 minutes of the match, I'm trying to work out what the hell's going on. We're in February, man.
Yeah, it's again, it's confused off the pitch with the squad building. It's confused on the pitch with the style of play, and that leads to me certainly being confused and not being clever enough to understand what is going on. Unfortunately, I'd love it to just be as straightforward as it being a one-player issue, but it was never just Savio, it was never just Lewis, it was never just Foden, it was never just Donnarumma, it was never just Bernardo, whoever you want to say. In the same way, last season, it was never just Kyle Walker. Even though he was a massive problem, it was never just the Walker problem. He left halfway through the season and we still, I mean, I know he did a bit better in fairness, but he wasn't on the pitch for the final game, for example. It goes beyond just an individual or even two.
What do you think with the current squad of players? What do you think the best way? What do you think the best way we've played this season is with these current squad of players?
I believe the best shape that we've used was the 2-3-5. That was the period when we beat Bournemouth and Liverpool. So I don't know how many games that would have encompassed. Shall I check what period that was?
Which I think I said at that time. I think that was the best games we played at the point that season.
So
I think did we not have a Champions League game in there as well, which we did quite well?
Yeah. So we beat Bournemouth. We beat Dortmund. We beat Liverpool. We lost against Newcastle, but that was a bit of a weird one. Leverkusen happened, but that's a totally different. That was a totally different team. That doesn't count. We beat Leeds. Fulham. We went away from a little bit against Fulham, but still. And I think it was Sunderland when we changed it. But then we still had lots of good games, in fairness. But for me, that was the period where we were playing some of our best football.
I agree. I think those games were our best. Was our best performances of the season.
Yeah,
I said that at the time.
Yeah, and
we scored 3, 4, and conceded 2. I think.
Yeah, and the best. And like the key tenets of that shape were it had that I think that was the first. Those were the first games where we saw Doku played centrally. Those were the games where we saw Foden played deeper. That was the game where we had 5 men in the build-up. That was the game where Shirky was popping off as well and linking up really well with Hall. And I'm playing as one of the 2 10s with Doku. And that was when we had width from the fullbacks. At that point, it was Nunes and O'Reilly. I'm not saying that we go back to that and we turn absolutely elite, but it just confused me that we went away from that. And we did get some good results. Like we beat Madrid, we beat Palace, etc., etc. We got lucky against Forest, but then we had the really bad periods, and we changed it again, and it worked temporarily, and then we changed it again, and it's not really worked. So,
any issues with playing that system with Huzanov and Gay, or can they both be involved in that?
If anything, Kusanov is actually a better fit than Diaz. So,
because of what, the high line or ball playing?
Because of ball playing partly, but mainly because I don't know if you want to get like a tactics board out or whatever, but it means that as for I want to make it clear that I'm not saying that go back to this and we'll win every single game.
You just say this is the best we've played so far this season.
Yeah.
But how did we set up in 9 games?
So
I've rotated the players that would probably come in for the system, but this was
gotcha.
This is the team that he started.
Yes.
Obviously, Doku inside, Cherky inside.
Yeah. So
Bernardo, was this one the one where Bernardo was right wing?
Nah. So push up Nunes to right wing.
Yeah.
And push up O'Reilly to right wing, please. Put Rodri in the central, and then put Foden to his left and Bernardo to his right.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so we had a 3-man midfield of that. Yeah. So if you'll notice that with this setup, the weakness really is that when you turn over the ball, all of the space is in behind O'Reilly and all of the space is in behind Nunes. So ideally, what would you have there? You would have a very pacey, wide centre-back who's able to sweep up long balls. So Kusanov would probably be a lot more suited to it naturally than Diaz. In fairness, off-ball, Gahey would also probably be better suited to it because he's really aggressive and slightly more aggressive than Gavardio. It wouldn't be better on ball, but it would still that would still be a thing. So I would like to see this. To be honest with you, I don't think it's a coincidence that we saw. What to be fair, Nico was playing back then, but we had Doku's best performances of the season, we had Foden's best performances of the season. We had Haaland on fire. We had Shirky linking up brilliantly well. It also helped mask to an extent the weakness of Donnarumma's build-up, which actually has gotten better over the past couple of games because you have way more bodies committed at the back. You got 5 instead of 4. I'll repeat, this doesn't fix everything, but I would just like to see us go back to this at some point because I think, for me, this was when we had our best games, and you seem to believe that as well. I think a lot of people think that, in fairness, these were the players that did it. I think a lot of players there are profiled and platformed very well.
Yeah, and Foden was playing well. in that position, he's having some good games, wasn't he? Now he's just like, he's been dropped. He can't even get in the team now because he's not been playing well. So
he was having his best games in those deeper areas. There were loads of games where we were struggling, and the solution was to drop him deeper, and it worked. Everton and Crystal Palace are the two best examples of that, and this was a shape where he just naturally got into those positions. How many times did Liverpool press us incredibly high up the pitch, and we just had enough players back to play out of the back? I think, was it our first or second goal? I can't remember, against Liverpool. It started from us building out of the back in our own corner because Foden dropped really deep to help out O'Reilly, I think it was. And then from there, we went up the pitch, and like 30 seconds later, we won. We scored the goal, sorry. That just proves that it did work. Yeah. Was it the first goal? Thank you. Yeah. So it worked.
When O'Reilly got the ball. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I don't really get why we've moved away from playing like this. And I get that Doku's not available right now.
Could you do like for like at the moment? Could you do Semenyo for Doku, or would that hinder the system too much?
I think you could still get away with that. Definitely. I don't think it would be as effective, and maybe you'd rather.
I agree. I don't think it would be as good as Doku because he's obviously not as good as taking players on. And that's part of what
it would still be. It would still be good and useful, though. You could still have natural rotations with O'Reilly and Semenyo in the same way that Doku and O'Reilly or Nori, whoever, have naturally rotated with one another. I still think it would work out really nicely, to be honest with you. But it's
what do you think about this? Finn says a system would fit Nori really well.
I think it would. I really think it would. I think that Nori has not been used out wide as much as I would have wanted him to be used. Juventus, I know it was in 5 BC when that game happened, but that was like the first time we saw our fullback and Doku, certainly this season anyway, rotating with one another. And it wasn't O'Reilly, it was Nori who was doing that. And you had Doku starting centrally, but then drifting out wide. And then you had Nori doing the reverse. In fact, one of the goals in that game was scored literally from that happening. You had Nori starting left wing back, whatever you want to call it, and then Doku playing centrally, and then or the other way around, and then they inverted for the goal that they scored when Nori fed it into Doku. That literally created a goal. So yeah, I absolutely agree. It would really suit Nori down to a T. 100% agree with that.
Yeah, let me ask you guys a question in the chat. Yeah, do you guys think that we should go back to this system? Because I do agree with Nobbins that this is probably the best we've played for consistent games. Yeah, maybe the first half against Galatasaray was great. Yeah, maybe the first half against Spurs yesterday was good. But in terms of full sort of 90 minutes and not just a one-off, I think that system that we played, those games, those group of games, Bournemouth, Liverpool, and that Dortmund game, and I remember saying it at the time, I said these have been our best performance of the season. Maybe we should go back to that. And obviously, you've got to make a couple changes because some of the players that were really important to that system are out. Gvardiol is injured. Yeah. Hozanov will have to come in for Diaz. Well, Diaz is fit. Obviously, he's back now, so you could put him back in if you wanted to. Rodri's in for Nico G. But I think that would actually be better because for me, Rodri's better at moving the ball up the pitch than Nico G anyway. And obviously, at the moment, Doku's currently injured, right? So that would have to be Semenyo. Yeah, that would have to be Semenyo there. Yeah, unless you wanted to try Savio. Yeah. Don't think anyone wants to do that respectfully right now. So you'd have to make a couple of changes to personnel. Yeah, but in terms of system, yeah, but again, for me, I'm not that sort of I just want him to pick a system and just stick with it, me. I just don't like the constant change, me. Does he go with this one? Cool. Does he go with the one against Galatasaray? Cool. Does he go first half yesterday where we had that fucking all those players in midfield? Cool. Whatever, man. I just think he needs to pick one and stick with it, is my personal opinion. Let's see what you guys in the chat are saying about it. Triad says, yes, stick with it. M8 says, yes, but does it fit Semenyo's? Doku's like, I think it, yeah, we just spoke about this. I mean, I don't think Semenyo would be quite as effective as Doku.
Of course not. It still works, though, I think.
It would still work, and he'd score more goals than Doku. So maybe he wouldn't link up with Haaland as well or whatever, but he'd probably get more goals than Doku, to be honest. Finn says, yes, 100%. We were much better playing like this against Liverpool. Was our best game of the season so far. It was both effective and entertaining. Yeah, it was entertaining.
And I don't And I don't accept and we touched on it earlier, if you can't out-muscle an opponent's midfield, okay, there's more than one ways to shear a sheep, right? That Liverpool midfield was way more physical and dominating than ours. That Bournemouth midfield was way more physical and should have dominated our midfield. Did they? No, they didn't, because we had lots of, your terms, techie ballers all in and around one another in deeper areas and connecting with one another, and were able to play through them really easily. It's an extreme example. When Barcelona went to St. James's Park, were they upset that they came up against players like Joelinton and Tonali? No. They had Pedri, they have Frankie de Jong, whatever, as you say. The beauty of that shape is that, okay, yeah, Bernardo isn't the most physical, okay, Foden isn't the most physical, and Cherki and whatever, but did that stop them?
No.
I don't think it did.
That goes back to what you were saying right at the start of the stream, which is if we don't have the power and the strength in that midfield, yeah, you've almost got to avoid the strength of midfield power battle and fight a different way, right? So if Tyson Fury comes up against a lightweight, yeah, the lightweight can't go in there and try and fucking knock him out. It ain't gonna work, man. He's got to out-tech him, bro. Yeah, maybe a couple low blows. You know what I'm saying? He's got to do something
Have you seen,
to win the fucking fight.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Nah, don't watch it.
Oh, L. This doesn't really work because the little guy dies, but he only dies because he popped off. There's an infamous scene where this massive behemoth of a guy is in a one-on-one sword fight with this techie guy who's like killing him with a spear, and he technically wins the fight, but then he edges it, and that happens. That was the analogy. Doesn't work. You've not seen Game of Thrones, but if anyone's seen Game of Thrones, you know what scene I'm talking about. Yeah, the little guy won. He just got a bit overconfident at the end, and he let him kill him.
Yeah,
spoilers.
We got to avoid the physical battle by being technically superior, and at the moment we're not technically superior.
Yes, yeah, because we don't have prime. We've got Rodri after an ACL rather than Rodri from a few years ago. We don't have David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. We don't have John Stones. We don't have. I mean, right now we don't have Gvardiol in the side. We don't have Edison in the side. We don't have Aguero. We don't have Leroy. Whoever you want to say. We've got different players going on. So the floor is a lot lower as a consequence. Perhaps that is one solution to do that. If you can't do it on a more individual basis, try to flood your opponent by having more bodies there. Maybe. Yeah. Let's have a look what you guys say in the chat. Smash these likes up as well, people. Shout out to Cooler, says the howler yesterday was from Pep, was keeping Semenyo. Yeah, Semenyo was awful yesterday. Shout out for the goal. But his overall performance was... There was a tweet that you did that I thought was really poignant. You said something like, Semenyo's the opposite of Doku in that Doku will be involved in all the phases of play, but maybe he doesn't get a goal contribution. And Semenyo's the opposite in that he may not be involved for 40 minutes, but then he'll do something out of nowhere. I think that's I think that's apt. I agree with that.
Yeah, but I'm cool with that, and that's what he did against Newcastle. But yesterday, he actually was involved a lot and was just shit. But yeah, that's what he'll do. Semenyo will score goals, and listen, if he scores goals and that, cool. But at the same time, mate, like the guy completed 0 out of 6 dribbles. Man, he was literally terrible yesterday.
Yeah, but, he's not a Doku take on winger.
No. Big up to Amin. He says, do you both honestly think Anderson solves it? I think he helps. I don't believe Anderson comes in and solves all our problems. Bro, to be honest with you, yeah, when you lose or draw a game like that yesterday, yeah, you feel like just packing it all in and just saying, we're just like, everything's wrong, yeah? And like, when I sit here now, and I'm still a little bit frustrated, not very frustrated about yesterday, I'm a bit fucking pissed off as well. Like, part of me is like, yo, these players are shit, right? And like, I don't think that, yeah. But obviously, when it's the day after a game, after a bad result, you feel like everything's fucked. And I'm sitting here now and I'm thinking to myself, I'm questioning everything. Because you start questioning everything. You start questioning the players. You start questioning the manager. You start questioning the board. Because when you've won 1 game in 6, soon to be 1 game in 7, after you spent all this money, and we were led to believe that this season was going to be better, yeah, you think, what the fuck's going on here? So you have to start doubting yourself. And now I'm sitting there thinking to myself, are these players good? Are these players as good as we think they are? Like, and you start, I don't know, man. So I think Anderson helps massively. I think you need more creators for Haaland in the team. Yeah, because at the moment, I feel like it's Cherky or bust. You know what I mean? If Cherky doesn't create for him, who creates for him? Which is not ideal. So yeah, I think he helps, bro, but I don't think he solves everything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's that is the trade-off. If you do sign a player like Semenyo, you accept that he's not necessarily a direct creator in his own right. He's more so going to be a goal scorer. So there are trade-offs in the same way that earlier we were saying how no one but Haaland is scoring, but people are creating for him. It's about finding that, striking that balance, isn't it? Having players who can do both, ideally.
This is it as well. Yeah, by Herbal. This is it for me. It's the constant, oh, we're done. And then it's like, oh, we're back in it. And then we win a game. Oh, we play good for 45 minutes. It's like, yo, is this a turning point? And then fucking absolutely dismal.
Speaking from, sorry, go on.
The constant up and down, up and down. Like last year, it was easier because we started the season good, happy. Then we just went completely shit, sad. But there was no up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
We won one game against Forest and the rest we were fucking shit. So it was easy. It was easier because every game we were shit. We weren't doing this volatility up and down, up and down. And then second half of the season, we're actually pretty good. Yeah, and then we lost the last game against FA Cup. I feel like last year was worse in some ways because we were worse as a team. But it was almost easier to take because every game that you went into in that period, it was like, yeah, we're losing this game. We're losing this game. And we did. We lost the game or we drew the game. Whereas this year, you go, no, we're going to win this. We're going to beat Spurs. Confident. Yeah. And then fucking do that. And then you perform like you do in the first half. And you're like, yes, this is us now. We're back. And then second half, we dropped the stinkiest performance we've done of the season. And we dropped points to fucking Spurs. And it's like, what the fuck? It's the constant emotional roller coaster this season, which is more difficult, I think, than last year.
Yeah, speaking from experience, again, loser mentality. Just there's some advice to like everyone in the chat. Just like basically accept that we're not winning the title this season, and I promise you'll have a much calmer experience watching City games. I have found beautiful inner peace over the past month or so, like watching City games because I've just accepted that we're not going to win the title this season, and that's the loser mentality. I get that, but.
I wanted, and I will be there, but I struggle to do it when it's.
Come on the loser train.
I think
this me right here.
Yeah, but and I agree with you. But when it's 6 points, it's very difficult to give up on the league when it's a 6.
I know, deficit. Yeah, and the fact that we're in control of 3 of them as well.
Yes, the thing is though, I think this weekend is the weekend, and it probably ends. Do you know that we beat Liverpool at Anfield 3 times in the last 39 matches?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? That's mad.
1980s, yeah. Chat. I don't know how many people in the chat were watching City back in the 80s, yeah. 2003.
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
COVID
it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
If you do Anfield with fans, it's twice in 38.
Yeah.
There's definitely a couple of uncles in this chat now that was probably at the game. Back in the 80s. I think it was 80. I think it was 83 maybe or 84 or something. I don't know how many of you guys in the chat. My YouTube says about 20% of chat is in that the 50s, 60s. So there's probably about 100 people in this chat right now who was watching. Oh, it was 89, was it? Yeah. So it was in the 80s. I can't remember the date, but Sixer said it was 89. Yeah, I actually looked at the game the other day. I looked at who scored. I fucking forget the names now. But yeah, we won 3-1. Big win. Big win for the lads.
Yeah.
Little bit. I imagine the City fans that day, yeah. Imagine if someone said to them, you're going to win only 2 games in the next, what is it? Was it 89, yeah? So what, 99, 2009, 27 years?
No, 37, isn't it?
37 years. So imagine saying to City fans that day, coming out of Anfield when we beat them 3-1 in the 1980s, well done, lads, enjoy it because you're going to win only 2 in the next 30 odd years. Imagine saying that to them. They probably think we fucking get 115 kicked out of the fucking league. Won't be back in the Prem for years. Honestly, man, that is mad, isn't it?
It's not looking good. You never know. You never know. I know I've just said I'm on the loser train, but never say never for the weekend. Who knows? Maybe something crazy will happen and Liverpool will be stinky.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, we do need to speak about Haaland. There's been a lot of talk about Erling Haaland.
Rightly so, yes.
We probably should have done log on it, to be fair. I completely forgot. Where do you stand at the moment, mate? He scored 1 goal in 10. He's getting pelters from a lot of the City fans saying he's not working hard enough. He's not putting himself around. Mm-hmm. Fair criticism, unfair criticism. Would you drop him?
No, yeah, there is a lot of fair criticism. There's also a lot of unfair criticism where we're saying sell him, like that's stupid. He does deserve to be criticised, as does every single City player from at least one stage this season. Basically, he should have done better yesterday with the dinked finish that he had. His first touch had to be better in some moments as well. I did think he played a few nice through balls through, but that's not enough. I do need more, of course. And it is all well and good saying that we do need to make more chances for him, and I do agree with that. But it can't just be as straightforward as that. We need to do more for Haaland, but Haaland needs to be doing more for himself and for us as well. And if you want
two-way street, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It can't just be I will only perform if I score a goal or something like that. We do need a little bit more. Was it really early in the season where he was properly getting involved in all of the play and his general play had really massively improved? And I was like, oh, wow, what's going on here?
That was when we was playing a little bit of a deeper fucking system and we was hitting teams more on the break. You know what I mean?
That's sort of gone away a little bit. He's a lot less involved now. And
I actually felt, though, that when we played that system, that was the best version of Erling Haaland I think we've seen at the football club.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think at the start of the season, unless my memory's shafting me, I'm pretty sure I was saying at the start of the season, I think this is the best Haaland I've seen, and I'm including as what should have been a Ballon d'Or year season in that, and it wasn't just the goals, it was just the overall playing, and that has gone away a little bit. I don't know if that's just because of the change in shape. Is it because of Haaland himself not doing well enough? I don't know. But yeah, it is of course correct to say that we need to be doing more for him, but he needs to be doing more for himself as well, probably. I don't really know what the solution to that is. Do you just take him out the side for a little bit of time and just lock in Marmoush Semenyo as two strikers for a little bit?
You can hunt. That is a completely valid suggestion, and if that's what Pep decides to do, or that's what City fans want to happen, I don't think there's anybody that should say that's not possible. I think that's 100% viable situation when he scored 1 goal in 10, right? For me, what my first port of call would be to play Marmoush next to him. It's what we did against Galatasaray. I thought he played well against Galatasaray first half. He scored himself a goal. That's his 1 goal in 10. And I felt that, it gave him a little bit more space because Marmoush occupied somebody. It also takes a little bit of the pressing responsibility off Haaland because Marmoush is such a very good presser. So a lot of the criticisms that Haaland gets right now, and probably rightly so, is that the guy just does not look arsed. He's not running. He's not pressing people down. Well, if you play Marmoush, that takes a part of that responsibility off Haaland because Marmoush will do most of it, especially when that press is on the left-hand side of the football pitch, because that's where Marmoush will be. If you try that and it doesn't work out, then you've got no other option but to drop him. My thing at the moment is we're not creating enough chances for him, right? So if you're not creating enough chances for him, whether he plays well or not, it's not great really, because Haaland's not Harry Kane. He never will be. And I've always said this. Don't try and make Haaland something that he's not. He's not Harry Kane. He'll never be Harry Kane. Can he improve? Yeah. Has he improved? Yeah, he has. But he's never. I mean, look at some of his control yesterday. Awful ball bouncing off him. Yeah, that's why I've said when people say, "Oh, he needs to link the play up better." No, he needs to be in the box scoring goals for Manchester City Football Club. Now, at the moment, we're not creating enough chances for him. I brought up the last 10 games yesterday on stream, and I brought up his shooting stats. Right, XG. No, not everyone likes it, right? But he had 1 game in the whole 10 with an XG over 1. Yeah, most of them was like 0.3, 0.2, 0.4. Now, should he be converting some of them? Yeah, he should, because he's an elite level striker. But we're not creating him good opportunities. So if we're not, drop him. So I'm at the point now where I personally play Marmoush and Haaland together as a double striker. But at the same time, I'm very open to just dropping him completely and just starting Marmoush as a striker. Completely. I'm completely open to that. So what I'm not one of these people that's like, you just can never drop him. I think obviously long term you can't drop him because he's on a 10-year contract, 500 grand a week. That's not going to work out. Yeah, he's going to end up leaving. But can you drop him for 3, 4, 5, 6 games? Yeah. Yeah. This is Manchester City, not Haaland FC. You know what I mean? We're allowed to drop him if he's not playing well or he needs a rest. So that's where I'm at with it, basically. Either drop him, yeah, or put Marmoush up top with him and get Marmoush to help him out a little bit. But that's where I'm at with it, man. To be honest, he's got to improve.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, let's see what Pep does in the next games, man. The next 2 games are massive. I think if he has 2 more bad games against Newcastle and Liverpool, I don't know where we go from here as well. But the thing is as well, yeah. You know, I was speaking to Elliot. I don't know if you know Elliot. Yeah, Elliot's a City fan.
Elliot Anderson.
No, not Elliot Anderson. Elliot's a City.
Yeah, Elby's got the connections. Tell him to come over here right now.
Yeah,
Transfer window's still open, right?
To him, bro. He watches the streams, but I spoke to him and he goes home and away. He goes to all the games home and away. And he said yesterday, man, the away end, man, a lot of City fans are getting on to Haaland. They're saying he's not fucking doing enough. Yeah, I watched Big Steve. Big Steve said he's not in form, man. He's not doing enough. A lot of City fans, you know, it's not just fans who don't go. It's fans who are going to games saying he's not fucking putting himself about. He's not putting a shift in. So yeah, either drop him, yeah, or you've got to change it to help him out. You can't just keep doing the same shit and expecting a different result because that's what we've done for the last 10 games and it's not working.
Yeah, well, we've got a League Cup game, tomorrow? Is that right?
Wednesday.
Sorry, Wednesday. And we're 2-0 up, and that means nothing for City. But that seems like a great opportunity to try to start with not a Haaland in the sides and see how we get on. I'd like us to do that on Wednesday. I'd like to not start Haaland and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm personally someone that doesn't believe that we can't play well without Haaland. I say it again. I think some of our best football last season come when Haaland wasn't in the team in that second half of the season when he picked up that injury and we played Marmoush as a false 9. I felt that was some of our best football, and then we put Haaland back in for Southampton away, and we were fucking dog shit. One of the worst performances of the season, 0-0. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would do, man. But you've got to do something about it, man. Big up to Akash, who says Poole brought random centre back for 70 mil, but Gaze on 300k. Yeah, I know, mate. But you got to add in. It's not 70 mil. You got to add in the agent fees. You got to add in his wages. You got to add in the plane, flight, transfer cost, ticket price. Yeah, you got to include all that. You got to include all the fees, bros. It's not 70 mil yet. It's 200 mil. Come on, mate. Up your game. Big up Makesh as well. He says Rodri gets gas second half. This started after he's back. Yeah, a lot of people have pointed this out. I don't think this is this is one of those stats which is like
that's cap. That's cap. Yeah, I'm afraid these problems existed in August when Nico was playing as well. It's not true. I'm afraid it's not as simple as just Rodri's gassed and what's it. It's not that straightforward.
No, I agree. I personally don't think that. It's one of those stats which is factually true based off the stats. However, it's not. I don't think that is legit. I actually think we started playing a bit shit just before he come back with Nico G, when Nico G started to get fatigued and he couldn't marshal that midfield on his own anymore. We actually started playing pretty badly just before Nico G got injured anyway. Yeah, because before that, Nico G was fresh in that. But then just before Nico G got injured, he was getting cooked a little bit in that midfield because he had to do it all himself. Then he got injured. Then Rodri came back and then we got cooked again. So we'll see. But listen, this weekend's going to be a big one. Liverpool away. Like I said before, we don't win there. 3 wins in 30-odd years. It's not ideal. So this weekend could be it. It could be the final name. I think they've got Sunderland at home. So they'll probably beat Sunderland.
If we don't win and Arsenal do win, are you hopping on my train or?
I've already hopped on and then I'll hop back off.
Nah, it's leaving the station. After this weekend, it's leaving the station. I'm afraid you got to.
No, but the train was one of those trains. Yeah, but it was one of those Indian trains where you can they don't have doors and you just get on and get off like whenever you want.
I think you're on the wrong platform. That's not the train I'm on.
Yeah,
I'm afraid.
No, I got on the train. Yeah. I got on the City Out train a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? And then
At Trafalgar.
as we were finally leaving the station, we got to the front of the station, the train was moving. Yeah, they dropped points and we won last week. I jumped back off. But then the train's coming back second pickup next weekend. So if they win and we drop points, which is likely to happen based on everything we know, then I'll get back on the train with you, man.
Nice.
But it's just sad. It's sad, man, because I honestly didn't think I'd be tapping out this early, man. I thought we'd be serious this year. It's a bit upsetting, man. You know what I mean? Get me some silverware, mate. Yeah, I'm someone that believes that if you get silverware, you know, I can accept it. I don't think it's necessarily a great season for this football club. And even Pep Guardiola said last year, even if we won the FA Cup, it still wasn't a good year for the football club, because this club should be winning Prems and UCLs. That's what the owners and that's what the investment's been made for. But as a fan, if you just get me a trophy, I'll take it, But I need to see something, man. I need to see a little bit of progression. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, win the League Cup, do well in the FA Cup, do get to the latter stages of the Champions League, and we can at least take that.
Do we have any chance in the Champions League?
We have a better chance of winning the Champions League than the Premier League. So I don't know what that does for you as for percentages.
Stop.
But
I'd say that. Just don't say anything.
Okay.
Yeah, just fucking stop. Yeah. I'd say that, man. I'd say that. Right, sweet boys. Big up, man, for jumping on. Nobbins, he got his own YouTube channel, of course. Make sure you guys go checking that out. And analysis videos, top class. If you want to know why City are terrible, go and watch the videos.
Hooray!
Yeah. And when we eventually get good again, he'll tell you all why we're good. So there you go. Yeah. And the transfer videos are top tier, I must say, when you do the transfer analysis videos.
There will be a Gahey video, just not in a rush to make it. But there will be one.
Cool. Yeah.
Analysis.
Did you release the Echeverry video? You did release it.
You were in the live chat for it.
I have done since he's gone Girona. Yeah, I've done 2 Girona watch-alongs since he's gone there. He's not started the game yet.
Yeah.
But I'll be giving you feedbacks on text messages for you.
Yeah. Love that. My little scout.
I'll be watching Girona, man. They play techie football. They're not great, but they play techie football, man.
They're trying.
Right, big up. Chat, smash the likes up. Should be live later on tonight. I'm waiting on a message back from Hugh. So yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell as well. Make sure you guys smash a like on the stream, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.